General Assembly as provided by law. Now, what exactly does this mean, Victor? Can any local law previously passed for Charles County other than taxes be repealed or amended locally?
The answer is, let me back it up. This language duplicates what's in the state constitution, all right, that says that the way it would work out is that once you have a charter government, you are allowed to enact any law on which they've given you authority over, including amending the local laws that the General Assembly have approved. So the question is, how much authority is that? What kind of authority they're giving you? It's very hard to sort of categorize that. I always say the local power that you are receiving is the power basically to legislate on any issue that is purely local in nature. And I've defined purely local in nature as saying that if a piece of legislation only impacts on the persons, places, and things inside Charles County, that's a purely local bill. Under the delegation of authority to a charter county has control over most things, not all things, but most things that are purely local in nature. So if you have a public local law adopted by the General Assembly that deals with one of those purely local subjects, you will be able to amend that local law. So, for example, your public local laws tell you that your salaries of your commissioners are going to be whatever they are. Well, we have authority to control that, and we have in the charter. So we are essentially amending the public local laws here. But there's dozens, maybe hundreds of subjects in your public local laws that you'll be able to control because you're going to get this local authority through the charter government.
Yeah, the law this was specifically brought to my attention after one of our meetings, and the law that the person was asking about was the law that says Charles County cannot have a police department. And I gather that, in fact, if we have charter government, then the council could then modify that law because that's strictly Charles County. Is that correct?
That should be.
Yeah.
Right.
But let me just point out, because this is sort of a hot issue. Let me just point out that currently, under the current form of government and with our current state delegation, it's possible to do the same thing now.
Understand.
In other words, if the current commissioners and state delegation wanted a police department, they could do it now. I just don't want to put out there that under the charter, this can only be done under the charter. It can be done now.
Yeah.
Matthews, could you repeat that point again? Because I think that is one that is so woefully misunderstood with respect to the charter that it bears being repeated for the 1,313th time.
Well, this issue came up almost at our first meeting or second meeting. And as a matter of fact, one of the commissioners in a written submission indicated, and I thought he was incorrect in what he said, that he had a fear that if we had a charter that we changed it, create a police department. Mm-hmm. And I think that we asked our county executives to give us some information on this, and I also thought that we got some information from state delegates when they were here, and a number of people here. The bottom line is that presently, under the code form of government, the state statute presently requiring, not allowing Charles County to have a police department can be changed. It can be changed right now if everyone agrees to it.
It's a legislative act.
It's a legislative act.
It's a legislative act. It's in the hands of the General Assembly. Essentially, your delegation can change it at any time through a bill in Annapolis.
Right.
And if you have home rule, you would be able to. So ultimately, it's going to be a legislative. We're not putting it in the charter. There's no suggestion it's in the charter. Ultimately, it's going to be a legislative solution. You're going to be transferring the power that's now in the hands of the General Assembly, which really means your delegation, to the elected officials here in the county to make that determination about whether or not you have a police department or not.
Mm-hmm.